Okay, so you have big goals. That's why you're on this channel. I get it. That's amazing. But before you go and hit those big goals, you need to ask yourself if you have what it takes to achieve them. This is going to save you from wasting so much time. And to do this, you utilize a mental model called survivorship bias. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use a survivorship bias, and it's going to separate you from the masses, millions of people out there living lives of mediocrity, trying things that are not suited for them because they didn't pay attention to this. By the end of this video, you're going to be a pro at it, and it's going to change your life. I want you to look at this picture of this plane here. Now, this picture represents various planes during World War II that were hit in dogfights, in air fights, kind of like in Top Gun. The red showing the areas in which they were hit. Now, the aeronautical engineers at the time, aerospace engineers, they had a difficult job of designing planes that were aerodynamic, so light enough to fly, but also could withstand the troubles and tribulations of war, that could withstand these dogfights. If you were an engineer and you had this image here, which represents the damage from several hundred planes, what areas would you strengthen? If you're like most people, you strengthen the areas with red, like on the wings, all these areas with red, you strengthen them because they took the most damage. But if you were doing that, you'd be committing a catastrophic mistake. You'd be falling for the survivorship bias. Let me explain. The areas that don't have any markings represent areas in which planes got hit and exploded or fell out of the sky, crashed into the water, the pilot died. These were disastrous events in which the plane took so much damage that it couldn't even return back home. So if you only acknowledge the planes that have returned, you're only seeing half the picture and you're ignoring the most crucial picture, the planes in which the pilots died. This is the survivorship bias. So when we focus only on the survivors and we ignore the data, the people, the casualties that didn't make it. And we see this in many areas of life. A very easy one is the lottery. So many people play the lottery. Why? Because they feel like they have a chance of winning. Why do they feel like I have a chance of winning? Mathematically speaking, your chances of winning the lottery are pathetic, minuscule. But people see lottery winners on the TV, they see them on the newspapers, they see them on social media, they hear stories about it. So it ends up being in their mind a lot more and they think that they have a chance. What they don't see is the millions of people that did not win the lottery, which represent the vast majority of the population. If they did see that, they wouldn't be so excited to play because they're like, look, I'm actually seeing all these people that have lost their money, have gone into debt, playing the lottery or playing in the casinos. I'm not going to get involved in this shit. The same thing happens in so many different areas of life. People want to become Mr. Olympia. They want to become like Ronnie Coleman, and they start in the gym and dedicate themselves to that. But they don't see how many other people are trying to be like Ronnie Coleman. People want to, become Hollywood actors. I've actually got a story for you. A couple of years ago, I used to be subscribed to this bodybuilder / personal trainer on YouTube. He made really good content. He was doing this thing, but then he abruptly stopped. He just said, look guys, I don't want to be a bodybuilder anymore. I am going to LA. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be the next Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And he was selling that. So he moved these bags from wherever he was, left, and started chasing the actor dream. I was feeling a little bit worried. I was like, oh damn, is he going to be another cliche like so many people that do this damn thing and don't make it? But I thought I'd watch. Now I've watched for several years, and let me tell you exactly what happened. This guy got various gigs. He got small gig after small gig. Usually in the background there's like a lamp or like an extra character. His biggest role was actually playing as a double for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in one of the Fast and Furious movies. Well, he was actually the arm of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You see, the directors saw that this guy had big muscles and they said, look, no one else has big muscles to play the double of the arm of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Let's just get this guy. And I'm not saying this guy didn't have talent. He obviously tried. He did his best and he chased the dream, but it didn't work. Why didn't it work? The same thing happens to people that try to start OnlyFans. A lot of girls that are trying to start OnlyFans now, they hear about the big numbers, that this star, this Instagram model is making $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month, $2 million a month, but they don't pay attention to the small details. The fact that the vast majority of people, the average earning on OnlyFans is something like $180. People that move to LA don't pay attention to the fact that the average person who chases this dream ends up getting eaten up and spat out, right? Now this guy's getting older. There's new talent coming into LA, new talent coming into a talent pool, and the chances of him being a successful actor are getting slimmer and slimmer. So what could have helped him? Perhaps if he paid attention to the survivorship bias, pay attention to the casualties, he would have seen that there was more involved in becoming a big-time Hollywood actor than what appears on the surface. On the surface, you think that perhaps you have to be a good actor, have a nice haircut, smell nice, but the reality might be something more sinister. Perhaps it's backroom deals with executives. Perhaps it's occult blood rituals. Perhaps it's, having a big connection of people that can give you various gigs. Who knows what it is? There's a lot of stuff that you don't know is involved in achieving certain goals that would have benefited you if you had paid attention. Same thing with starting a business. A lot of people want to start a business, but they don't have the character trait to start a business. That's why you hear these traits or these stats that 90% of businesses go to fail, because 90% of businesses are people that just want to start a restaurant. They like eating pizza, they like making pizza, so they start a pizza restaurant without doing any due diligence. Then they go bust. There's actually a good book on this called The E-Myth Revisited, which talks about how most business owners are actually just workers in a business instead of business owners. So we all make this mistake where we underestimate the task at hand because we only pay attention to the winners. And I want to tell you something. I'm not trying to discourage you from having big goals. This channel is about living and dying well. It's about chasing things that are going to fulfill you. So we're not talking about mediocrity here. But what I am saying is to pay attention to failures, pay attention to the people that are not being represented, because what that does is it gives you more insight. You see, failure is more robust than success. There's a few different ways that people can be successful, but there's certain common ways that people fail. When you're studying successes, let's say when it comes to becoming a Hollywood actor, you might have 50 or 60 examples to study from. But if you study the failures, you have millions of examples to study from. Millions of people that did certain things that you can do to better your chances. That's why the survivorship bias is so important. When you want to become an entrepreneur, study the people that went down that route and failed, and see what aspects of their failure lies within you and aim to crush it. This is how you increase your chances. And the way you use this mental model is by asking two simple questions. What am I not seeing right now? What am I not seeing? And what can I learn from failures? If you ask yourself those two questions, you're gonna be leagues ahead of the average person that aims to do big things. You're gonna know exactly what's involved and you're gonna be able to chase it and get it. Do this, and I promise you'll be one step closer to living and dying well.